Okay, so today what we're going to talk about is what gambling can teach you about business and how to win big by stacking the deck in your favor. So I don't know if the gambling title is what attracted you to the thought of it today, but I'm not a big gambler myself, but whenever I am in Vegas, I like to jump on a blackjack table for a little bit, not very long. But there are some things that I've learned about it that I think apply to business, and that's what I want to share with you today. So before we kick it off, though, a little bit about me to know why you should even listen or trust me. And I want to give you a little bit of my background. I won't go too deeply into it like a lot of people do in their workshops and webinars, but I was a former professional actor. I did that for 20 years. I had small roles in big films and big roles in really small films, and I'm sure you've never seen. But that was a lot of fun. And eventually my son was born, and I left Los Angeles to pursue a career as an entrepreneur. And I've been doing that now for, gosh, I guess it's been about 20 years. And I'm now proud to say that I've grown my business to being a seven-figure entrepreneur. And so I am excited about that. And as part of that, I created the Authority Academy. I'm the founder of the Authority Academy. That's my big overarching piece of my business. And in addition to that, I'm an international best-selling author, the Zero to Launch Podcast Accelerator. That was my second book that made international best-selling status. And that's all about podcasting, one of the things that I excel in and have been teaching for years. As a matter of fact, I'm the host of 6 different podcasts. And I'm also the founder of the Podcasters Cruise, which we do every year. We're coming up on a third annual Podcasters Cruise this November. If anybody's interested, just pop me a message in the text and I will let you know, or in the chat, I mean. Next up, I'm a Mensa member. If you don't if you know Mensa, or if you're not familiar with it, it doesn't really matter that much. It's known as the High IQ Society. I have 144 IQ, which doesn't mean a whole lot. A lot of people think, well, that means you know a lot about everything. It's no, that's really just a matter of how I think about things. And I just put it there because I want you to know that I think deeply about all of the things that I do in business. And that's also what I want to share with you all today. And finally, I'm the founder of the Infinite List, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we progress. But that's my background. I hope that's given you enough input to make you want to listen to what I'm laying down today. And I want to kick it off by asking if you've ever been to the Bellagio or the Venetian or any of the other fine casinos in Las Vegas. And if you have, you've seen opulence that really borders on astounding. I mean, the amount of money spent just to construct and maintain these buildings and grounds is amazing. And sometimes, however briefly, I'm left to wonder, like, where does all this money come from? Well, I don't really wonder for very long at all, really. I mean, obviously, it comes from the suckers who lose their money at the tables and slot machines and all around the casino 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I guess the wonder part is more about, hang on one second, I'm going to mute everybody there. Okay. I guess the wonder is more about like how the casinos just don't lose. And maybe you've wondered that too. So let me break it down for you and why you as an entrepreneur need to understand this as if your life depended on it. All right. So the simple answer is mathematics. Every single game in the casino is stacked ever so slightly in favor of the house. And it's these small incremental wins that casinos are able to rake in massive amounts of money. So here's an example. This is a roulette table, okay? So let's say you bet on a number, all right? And we're talking about the mathematics of it here. So we're going to break it down using roulette. And so my favorite number is 7. That's my lucky number. And for those of you who don't know the game, there are 36 numbers to choose from. And if you choose correctly, the house pays 36-1. Seems fair, right? Well, actually, it's wrong because even though they're paying 36-1 and you see there are 36 numbers, what you probably don't notice is that there's also a 0 and a double zero, which means in actuality, they're paying you 36-1, but your odds of winning are 38-1. And it's just that little increment that's in favor of the house that keeps them raking in the money because they know in the long haul, they're going to collect more than they ever have to pay out. Okay. This is long term. Certainly they're going to be winners who cash out big, but the long haul, they're actually going to be winning because you see there on a roulette wheel, there's actually a green 0 and a double zero. And so there are actually 38 different spots the ball can land. All right. And each type of casino game, the odds vary slightly. And there are betting strategies that you can use to help you get as close to even odds as possible. However, even with all of your efforts, the house is still going to win in the long run, especially because they're counting on the amateur, the wannabe gamblers, and the casual players who they think may not be aware of the odds, or they're also going to make stupid moves that are going to cost them even more at the tables, making the casinos richer and richer and richer. And sadly, the same mentality of these gambling hacks is pervasive in the business world. And I want to show you how to not be one of these hacks that never gets their business off the ground. I want to show you how to be a card counter that goes in and turns the odds back in your favor. And it's not hard. It's just that it's overlooked. And as a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever seen anyone who teaches this at all. And I'm really kind of sad about that because I feel like it's one of those things that everybody should learn right away. So a card sharp can go in. I'm going to go ahead and stop share here for a minute so that we can chat a little more face to face. Let's hit that. So as an example, a card sharp can go in and increase their odds of winning even at a poker tournament simply by knowing a few simple mathematical truths. And the bottom line is that gambling, just like business, it's a numbers game. And if you don't know how to look at and understand those numbers, well, you're going to lose. And I think the easiest way to reveal the magic numbers to you is by continuing the comparison of gambling. Okay. Specifically, we're going to use blackjack as the game and card counters as our business people. Now, it's not a perfect analogy, but I think card counting is a skill that perhaps at least you've heard of before. And a card counter watches the hands closely, what's being dealt, and they're keeping track of how many face cards and tens have shown up versus the lower cards. Now, obviously, there's a bit more to it than that, but I just want to keep things really simple here, okay? The card counter knows that if the ratio is negative, okay, in other words, there's far more face cards and tens been showing up, okay, than the lower cards. So the likelihood of getting a face card, because that number is negative, is going to be a little bit lower. And depending on his cards that he has in his hand, he'll then be able to decide whether or not to hit or stand. Now, this is statistical knowledge that will improve their odds of winning. Well, my question becomes, what do you count in business? So let's be honest here. I'm going to roll out some numbers that you should know about your business, and I want you to test yourself on whether or not you've even looked at or know these numbers at all. Okay, so let's start with an easy one. I'm going to go back over here to the slides and we're going to crank through these pretty simply. Okay, share and get back into the slides. Okay, I believe that's showing up for everybody now. Okay, so let's start with an easy one. How big is your email list? Okay, what's the size of it? And if you don't at least know that number within 100, you need to be paying a little bit more attention to this. And this video may, in fact, change your life a bit. Seriously. And don't get caught up in what's considered big at this time as far as list goes. I have colleagues who think a list size of 30,000 is small. Might sound weird to you, might not. And I have others who think that a list size of 10,000 is huge. But here's the deal. That part doesn't really matter. You know, whether 10,000, 30,000, whether that's big, small, doesn't matter. It's what comes next. Okay, because the next number is what percentage of your list has ever bought from you. Okay, now this one can be a little bit more elusive, but you should still track this. And it's really simple to track. You just take your list of buyers, okay, people who've ever bought from you. And I'm going to just throw out some samples here too of percentages. Like some of you, if you're relatively new in the business and you've just started, maybe a high percentage of your list is bought from you. And I know people who just start out and they sell a bunch of stuff and now their entire list is made up of people who bought from them. That is rarely the case. And as your business grows, you're going to find that the number drops and drops and drops. And maybe it's 4% or less even. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, don't qualify these numbers with any meaning just yet because it's somewhat irrelevant. All right. So now let's say to do the math here, again, we're going to take our number of buyers. So let's say I've got 100 buyers from my list of 5,000. Okay. So if you know your list size and you know the number that's bought from you, you simply divide that out. And in this case, 100 buyers divided by 5,000 total on my list is equal to 0.02 or 2%. Okay. This is super vital information to know. Because with that knowledge, you could draw the conclusion that if you want to double your business, double your revenue, you're going to need to grow your list by another 5,000 people. And just as an aside here, I'm not talking about buying a list, unless by chance that's where your first 5,000 came from. If all you're doing is buying lists, that's a whole other ball game. I'm talking about your list of followers. These are people who subscribe to your list, much like you have to mine, because of something that you did or you offered, and it got them interested in what you do. So, armed with this knowledge, you're one step closer to success, but you're not quite there. Now, again, just one more time so you have it there. To get this number, you have your total buyers, people who've ever bought from you, divided by your total list. Okay? Now, to grow any business, in the simplest terms, you're going to either need to do one of two things: sell more units or charge more per unit. And if you coach clients, you either need more customers or you need to charge more per client, per customer. It's pretty simple, really, but keep in mind that you will likely hit a ceiling on the amount you can charge. Okay, which really leaves you with the sole option of getting more clients. And yes, okay, again, I'm simplifying. I know there are other things that you can do. You can create more offers to sell to your existing client base. But we're going to jump ahead and assume that you've exhausted that avenue. Okay, as a matter of fact, the next number you should know will factor this into the equation. And that is, what is your customer lifetime value, also known as your CLV? That's how much, on average, does one customer spend during the run of their time with you? Now, maybe a customer stays with you for several years. Maybe they don't. Maybe that's just not the way you're done. People buy something and they move on. Whatever it is, what is the lifetime average value that a customer will spend with you? And you may still have customers who haven't even stopped spending yet. Like I know we do. We have people who will continue to buy stuff from us year after year. And you've likely got clients who just started. Okay, so, but they're still coming into the mix. But what you need to do is calculate what you do know. And much like card counting, you won't know for certain what is next, but you will have a better estimate to base your decisions upon. Now, I hope this is landing with you well. This is really an important piece here, okay? Because there was an expression I learned some time ago in the accounting industry. I was talking to an accountant that we were working with, and he said, in the world of accounting, it's much better to, let's see if I can remember how I said it. It was much better to be precisely inaccurate than to be accurately precise. And I think what it boiled down to, I'm probably butchering that phrase, but what it boiled down to is you could try to get the exact number, but things change so frequently that you're better off not worrying about trying to get that exact number because it's probably going to be wrong anyway. So you're better off to use an estimate. And that's what we're doing here. Okay, so I want you to just do it. Take your number of buyers that we derived earlier, then grab your total revenue from those buyers and calculate the average. And maybe it ends up $2,000 or maybe more. Maybe you have higher ticket items and maybe a customer average lifetime value will be 11,000 or more. Now remember, it's an average. You may have some clients who are going to be really high, some that are going to come in lower. But let's just go ahead and ferret this out. All right. So let's play with it a little bit. Let's say your total revenue, extracting any non-client based income. What do I mean by that? If you've got affiliate revenue that you're also generating on your list, don't really count that because that's not something you're selling of your own stuff. I'm talking about your direct revenue. So again, going back to the numbers that we had, okay, we've got a list of 100 buyers out of our 5,000 total list, so 0.2%. Okay. And let's say we know that we generated $348,312. We're going to base this on a year, by the way, because we want to annualize it. And so we divide that by those 100 buyers. Well, that means we made $3,483.12. That's our customer lifetime value at this point in time. Okay. Again, you could break it down further and do this on an annualized basis, which would be even better. But our goal today is to keep it really simple and useful. Okay. To do it annualized, you're going to have to look at what your list size and buyer size was at the beginning of the year, then at the end of the year, and then calculate what you earned during that year and the change. I mean, it's a little more complicated, but you don't need to get that complex. Right now, you're already armed with enough knowledge to do the simple math of a card counter. Okay, so what's your revenue goal? Let's play with that. Okay, we're going to do this is like fifth grade math, maybe even fourth grade. I don't know how old she looks there, but this is simple math. Okay, let's say you want to set a revenue goal of $500,000. You want to bring in $500,000 this year? Let's do it. All right. $500,000 if we know our customer lifetime value. And again, we've annualized this. So this means over the course of a year, a customer will spend this on average with us. Okay. So we take the target, 500,000, we divide it by the $3,483.12. And it means we need to get 144 new buyers. And I rounded up. It was 143.56 or something like that. Okay. So we need to get 144 new buyers. And that's how simple it is. If we're going with the assumptions of what we've done in the past, which we hope we can replicate, this is the amount that we'll need to do. And we also know that 2% of our list will buy from us. That's why we need to know that math as well. So if I know that on average, and I've got enough numbers to really calculate this with, 2% of my list will buy from me, well, then I also have some other information here. Okay, 2% of my list will buy from me. And if I need 144 new buyers, divide that by that 0.02, 2%. That means I need to grow my list by 7,200 leads. Okay, now, before I lose any of you going, factoring all this in your head and thinking, well, what about this? What about that? Yes. Of course, we're making lots of assumptions in this process. But here's the thing I want to get across to you. Don't be stupid. Do you think the casinos know how every single hand is going to play out? Of course they don't. They're invested in the long game of playing the odds. Sure, they pay out big winners, but they know that in the longer game, these averages will hold true. And as long as you've calculated yours based on enough information and you continue to honor the path that you've been on, so you still deliver the goods and you're still able to close certain percentages, okay, then the numbers will hold true. So if you want to earn an extra $500,000 a year, what do you need to do? All right, first, you need to do your own math right now. I want you to figure out your numbers, okay? What is your revenue goal? That's first and foremost. This is the reverse engineering part I like to talk about with a lot of my clients is start with the end in mind. And I'll share a little bit more about that on something that we're doing right now as well, to just give you a real world example. Then you got to look at how you're going to get there. How many new potential leads do you need in order to hit that revenue goal? And you need to know your current numbers to do that. And then you're going to be able to figure out how many leads is it going to take you to get there. Okay. A card counter, by the way, is going to look for a blackjack table that perhaps uses only one deck. Okay. They don't use these big shoes with lots of cards in it. It's much harder to find these days because of card counters. Or they're going to use one that reshuffles less frequently or plays fewer decks. So my question for you is, how are you going to get more qualified leads into your list quickly? Okay, because that's the bottom line of it. Business is based on sales, and sales is based on how many leads do you have to be able to convert. Now, you could certainly do this with a bunch of JV partners. And if you don't know about JV partnerships yet, I'm going to ask that you watch some of our other videos in our YouTube channel because I don't want to dig into every avenue of what we can talk about in business. But JV partnerships are great, and you could certainly do that to help to grow your list. You could also go on a speaking tour and try to get in front of large audiences where you can put out an offer there of a lead magnet and get people to opt into your list. Another great way to grow an audience, though it does take a bit more effort. You could also put together or get invited to be on a virtual summit. And again, there's pros and cons to all of these, but I'm going to share with you some of those. But more importantly, I want to share with you another way that you can actually grow your list. And looking at what we just did for that math, let's say 7,200. Now, is it going to happen overnight? No. I mean, it could. There are certain, if you had a big partner willing to promote you like crazy and they've got a massive list, that could possibly happen. But otherwise, the best way to do it that I've found is through giveaways. And if you don't know what a giveaway is, it is a collection of valuable free gifts, often in the form of lead magnets, that are thoughtfully curated by a single host and contributed by a diverse range of guest experts. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, it's just because, again, I don't want to go deeply into what a giveaway is, but I'm going to tell you that you can actually subscribe to our YouTube channel. I hope that you will, by the way, if you haven't already. You can hit that little QR code there and head over to it, or you can look at Infinite-List 24/7, I think, or Infinite List 24/7 is our YouTube channel, and check it out. And in addition to that, we've also got an event coming up in, what is today? Is the 5th? We've got an event coming up in 4 days that's called the List Building Extravaganza. I just put a link for that in the chat, so you can go directly to that if you want to sign up, if you haven't already. I'm guessing that maybe you already are. If you've been on my list, you've been hearing about it. Okay. This is a 6-hour live stream, not to be missed. I hope you'll join us there. All right. So, with all of this said now, I want to talk about, oh, and by the way, here's a thing about giveaways at our YouTube channel. You can go right there and dig right into that giveaway. Okay, so be sure to check it out. And here's the thing. Giveaways provide greater value because you're going to get great warm leads. These are people who are already on someone else's list. They're opening their emails. They're looking to learn and better themselves and grow in their business and whatever it is they're up to. So you know that they're active and engaged, and they're highly targeted. They're coming from someone else's list who probably has a similar concept or teaching or something close to what you do. Giveaways run with a very short duration. Okay, so they're typically run about 3 weeks, so it's not a high time commitment on your part, yet you're going to get a good return on your leads. It will build your authority by positioning you as a guest expert among other guest experts in the giveaway, and it'll grow your network. All the other people in the giveaway that are playing with you, you start to make new connections, build new business relationships, and so forth. So, giveaways are super valuable in that respect. And as I mentioned earlier, you could potentially do a virtual summit. Well, what about a giveaway versus a summit? First of all, any of you who've done both, you know that giveaways are far easier to do. You don't have to record any interviews, first of all, much less time consuming and easier to set up. You'll end up getting more leads because honestly, people these days are very time crunched, and you will find more people sign up just to get a whole bunch of free gifts than will sign up to spend hours watching videos and interviews in a summit. The results for the contributors are therefore better because now, typically on a summit, they have to watch, and I'm on a summit, by the way, and I do them regularly, and I'm not knocking them, but I'm saying when you compare the two, the ease is much greater. A contributor in a summit won't get as many opt-ins as they will in a giveaway. And it's also easier to participate as a contributor. In a summit, I've got to go and be interviewed by somebody and spend the time and put all that together versus giveaway. I just toss out my free lead magnet. And therefore, giveaways are also more consistent across the board. So these are some of the values of a giveaway versus a summit. And when you employ this as an ongoing strategy, you're going to find that you've got a much lower cost per lead when you're doing giveaways, and especially if you've ever considered Facebook ads, you'll find that giveaways are a fraction of the cost. And I'm talking a fraction, like maybe 10% or less than what you would pay for your leads on Facebook. It's consistent when you participate in giveaways on a regular basis. You're going to get a higher quantity doing this where there's a regular flow as opposed to a trickle that you can often get posting your stuff on social media or just putting a post out in, let's say, on your website. You'll just get a trickle. But with giveaways, you'll get a higher quantity. As I mentioned earlier, they're warmer leads because they're coming from someone who's already got this name, this person on their list. So this is someone who is engaged, and they're very easy to implement, especially when you have some form of a platform to help you with that. Now, I'm not sure what the next slide is here. Okay, yeah, we'll keep going with the slides for the moment. Amy Porterfield, if you don't know who Amy is, she's amazing in this industry. And after 13 years in business, 46,000 students, and 43 million in revenue, I can confidently say when your email list grows, your business grows with it. And by the way, this is an old quote from Amy. She's now surpassed 100 million in revenue from her business. And so I can promise you that what she's speaking is the truth. When your email list grows, your business will grow with it. And at Infinite List, we make lead generation easy, but I'm not going to jump into that just yet. I'm going to stop the screen share, okay, and come back to the main floor because there's some other stuff that I want to share with you that I think is super important to kind of, get the feel for. And that is that in addition to everything that you are experiencing with the benefit of selling your own stuff. Oh, here, I see my microphone's kind of blocking my head a little bit there. Everything that you are benefiting from and growing your own list of selling your own stuff, there are some side effects, some extra perks of being a giveaway host that I'm sorry, of growing your list that I think are often missed. And one of those things is that your affiliate revenue. Okay, if you're not familiar with affiliate revenue, this is worth me going down a little bit. I do have other videos in our YouTube channel on this, but I want to just say that the affiliate revenue stream can be phenomenal. As a matter of fact, my affiliate revenue this year, and I did a whole video on this the other day, is going to exceed 100,000 just in affiliate revenue. Now, let me be real clear what affiliate revenue is. That's simply, I have this list of 30,000 plus people. And whenever I have a partner who says, hey, Michael, I'm got this event coming up, or I'm promoting my online course, or let me use Jeff Walker as an example, someone I partner with. Jeff will be, hey, I'm promoting every year he promotes his product launch formula, and I say, great, I'll help promote that for you. So I email my list of 30,000 saying, hey, jump into Jeff's world. Okay, and typically he's offering a bunch of free stuff during this launch. And so my people, whoever are interested, will sign up. They'll start to learn from Jeff. And then during this process of his launch, he will make an offer, and several of these people that I've referred will buy. And when that happens, I get a 40 to 50% commission on every sale. That's affiliate revenue through JV partnerships. Okay, I hope this is making sense for everybody because this is the key. When you have a big list and you do this effectively, you will find your revenue just starts to skyrocket. And you do not have to do anything to deliver on it other than just crank out a few emails. Okay. So again, my affiliate revenue will this year surpass $100,000 in affiliate revenue. That's money just for me promoting to my list other people's stuff. Now, I'm very selective about who I partner with. I really want to make sure they've got a program that I respect. Like with Jeff Walker's as an example, I own it myself. I use it. So there is that. And you want to make sure that you're serving your audience, you're serving your list. And so, hey, you guys all got here because you're on my list. So you know that a lot of times you'll find that I'm promoting something like this. And I do it only with the partners that I feel have something really good to offer. Now, that's one of the side perks of having a big list, okay? The other one I'm going to show you here, let's see what's the best way to show this. I don't want to overburden you with data or information or get you jumping into stuff and going, well, that's all confusing there. Just look at what I'm trying to point out to you, I guess is what the bottom line of what I'm going to say. Don't pay attention to this automation feature. I use Entreport to run our business. Okay. And what you're looking at is the inside of an automation you're about to be looking at, the inside of an automation for Entreport. This particular automation is for the list building extravaganza that I just mentioned to you and said, hey, if you want to join, the link is in the chat. And as a matter of fact, I know some people came in probably a little bit after I did that, so I'm going to copy it and put it into the chat once more. And if you're watching this in playback, I will put the chat in the YouTube channel as well, so you'll be able to see that there. So this is an event that's going on 4 days from now. Due to the size of my list and JV partners, this is a combination. You'll see that we have 520 people have already registered for this event. Think about that. You start to do events when your list has grown, you will be able to get a lot of people coming to your world. Just today, those of you who responded to this today, I only emailed yesterday. And a lot of people have already opted in. Not all show up because, again, it's short notice. And I know a lot of people will be watching the replay later, but the interest level is high because of having a big list. And so here, as you can see, and by the way, our target for this is 600. I'm going to do a quick refresh because I know we've had probably a bunch sign in since I popped up that screen. So we're refreshing that screen. It was 520. And here it goes. And gotta, shrink it back down to size. And we're already up. 4 more people have opted in just since I started. You see the numbers now up to 524 just since starting this. And that is one of the other perks of having a big list. When you go to do an event, when you go to offer something, you've got a lot of people there paying attention. So I cannot express to you enough the value of putting the effort into growing the list. And as I mentioned, all of that 524 is not just from my own list. As a matter of fact, about 60% of that is directly from my list, about 300 of those. The other 224 are from joint venture partners. And the other side perk, and this is the reason I'm saying this, number one, I mentioned you can increase your affiliate revenue. Number two, you can really just start pumping out your own stuff, your events. You've got people listening, paying attention who will jump and come into your stuff. The other piece that kind of goes hand in hand with that is that, as you saw, 40% of those people are from JV partnerships. And the reason I have better and more powerful JV partnerships is because I have a big list. It makes me much more interesting and valued as a partner. When your list is large, everybody wants to play with you. And you may notice, for those of you, I don't know where you are in the world of list growth or where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, but I know when I started out, it was really hard. I couldn't get anybody with a bigger list or world to play with me, okay, because I was not interesting enough yet, because I just started and my list was small. But as my list grew, the interest level increased. And now I can play with bigger players in the industry. And this is all something that, again, we're playing a long-term gain here. This is not get rich quick. This is the science of mathematics in the world of this industry that we play in. And if you utilize this, just like you would if you were a card shark trying to cheat the casinos and get some of that money back, if you use this math, you will excel in the industry. Okay. And I promise you, there is an easy way to do it and a fast way to do it. And that's the part I will continue to share with you now, which is my company, The Infinite List. Okay. And so let's get back over to the slides. What makes lead generation easy through Infinite List is that it's low cost. Okay. You can join for as little as $250 to get started. You can participate in 12 or more giveaways per year. A lot of our members will do 20 or more giveaways in a year. And imagine each of those giveaways getting anywhere from 100 to 300. And let's play on the low end. Let's say you did 20 giveaways and you, on average, got 100 new leads per giveaway. You've just grown your list by 2,000 in your very first year. And you can do this year after year after year. You can grow your list by thousands every year. So if you're looking at those numbers that we played with earlier, if you want to hit a 500,000 in revenue, how many leads do you need to get there? And you're going to want to then start this process of getting new leads into your world. And again, Infinite List makes it easy. It's 250 for your first month. Well, this is a bit of an old slide. We have our two different new price structures. It says then just 125 a month. We actually have a $79 a month plan, and we have a $129 a month plan. So sorry, this slide did not get adjusted beforehand, but it's still $13.50 for the first year or something like that. So this, if you choose to pay annually, you can save even more. I'm going to leave this slide there for just a little bit so you have that QR code if you want. It's also really easy. Just go to infinite-list.com. And when you do this and you start to get into these giveaways, and again, the ongoing fee afterwards is even lower than that first month, you start to play full out and get into more and more giveaways and grow your leads and your revenue. So I'm going to share with you a couple of our early testimonials we have here. As a direct result of Infinite List giveaways, I've gotten 3,161 leads and closed 10,757 in sales so far. And this is an old quote from Christy. She said that now she's surpassed 30,000 in sales. For the small investment of Infinite List, you can see that your ROI is really incredible. Here we have Virginia Parsons. She said, I'm so happy to have joined the Infinite List and take part in so many powerful giveaways. My email list has nearly doubled in a few short months. And then I'm going to just going down to the next part in the bold black. I attracted 2 new clients in the first month. And again, if you look at what is your amount, your customer lifetime value, you can find that this should pay for itself pretty quickly. Okay. And she went on to say, if you want to grow your list and new leads and attract more clients, joining Infinite List is a no-brainer. Nedra Wendell says, pivoting my business and working with Michael and Krista, I've seen incredible results. My lead list has grown by 800 quality leads just since the spring. And I think at the time that she gave us this quote, the spring, that was over a period of about 3 or 4 months. Okay. And we also provide coaching and guidance along the way. She goes on to say the coaching and guidance on running effective giveaways have been fantastic. Infinite List has shown me the right way to do it, and the results speak for themselves. So as part of our program, I didn't even really mention is that you also get access to 3 coaching calls every month. Those are our Ask Me Anything coaching calls. And we also do 2 community calls. You don't have to come to any of those. This is not a program. But you can use it as such if you want to. We're there to help educate you and help you to master your lead generation. And finally, Diane Forster said, I recently participated in my first giveaway, Rising Star Visibility Toolkit, and the results have been incredible. I managed to gain 88 new opt-ins to my list from just 3 emails and have already generated 16,000 in revenue. Okay, so these results, obviously, these are not typical, but these are typical of the people who play full out. When you are playing full out, you can really get your effort dialed in. Okay, so again, just check us out at the Infinite List. I'm going to stop share, and then we're going to open it up to Q&A, and we're going to see what may have evolved for you as questions. As I've covered any of this material, I'm going to have you, if you will raise your hand, I will see your digital hand, I will call on you, and then we can answer that question for you. And until I see some hands pop up, I'm just going to share with you that when I started in this industry, which I started back in 2013, and so it's been just coming up on 12 years now. And I was an entrepreneur before that, but I had a high-tech startup company before I got into the world of podcasting and coaching and the online industry. I had a high-tech startup. And I can tell you this, that in this industry, I have so much more flexibility and freedom than I ever had with my high-tech company. I am making more money than I ever made with my high-tech company. Again, as I mentioned, 7-figure entrepreneurism. For me, that was a goal, and it was much easier to hit in this industry because of learning along the way. Here's the key factor of it. I learned very early on from Jeff Walker. He said, and I love this quote from him, there are only 2 rules to business. Rule number one, only sell stuff the market really wants. And rule number two, always be building your list. And at the time, I thought, yeah, that makes sense. But kind of like riding a bicycle, someone can tell you about balance. They can say, well, if you feel yourself starting to lean to one side, you just kind of adjust yourself to lean back to the other, and it balances it out, and you kind of adjust your wheel. They can explain it to you, but until you've ridden a bike, you're not going to get it. You're not actually going to go, oh, yeah, now I feel it, because something you have to feel in your body. So while it made sense to me that one should always be growing their list, I didn't get it deeply in my system until my list hit about 10,000. And once I hit that number, I noticed things changing dramatically. As I mentioned, I started to get invited to play more with bigger players in the industry. My revenue had gone up. It was easier for me to fill events, to make promotions, to do all types of stuff. My affiliate revenue grew. All of these things really started to happen. And it made me realize, often I'll be on a podcast interview and I get asked this question, like, if you had to start all over, what would you do differently? And I got to say, if I had to start all over, I would make list building job one right out of the gate. And if you're sitting here listening to this and you're thinking, well, I need to get my offer ready first, or I don't know what I'm selling yet, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. I'm telling you, you're going at it backwards. Start growing your list, even if all you're going to do is tell them, hey, isn't it lovely weather today? Okay. If someone jumps into your world and wants to listen to you, and yeah, I'm being a little bit facetious there, but imagine conceptually, you know ultimately what it is that your gift is for the world. Okay. And if you don't know what that is, just think, what do your friends ask you about most often? What do people turn to you for? They're like, you're the person who, if I ever have a question about this, you're the one I would ask. Okay. So think of that thing. And if you know at least that, you don't have to have a product ready to sell. You don't have to have your book done. And by the way, I get this a lot from authors who will say, well, I don't want to start growing my list until my book's done. That is so ass backwards. Okay. When I was writing my first book, the one that did not get international bestseller, but I'm writing my first book called The Art of Forgetting. And I was approached by a publishing house, and they said, your book sounds really interesting to us. I knew one of their other authors who had referred them to me, and they said, can you complete this acquisitions questionnaire for us? And I was feeling pretty good about this. I'm like, oh, cool, they're interested. So I'm going to fill out this questionnaire. And I had a lot of questions in it that were really interesting. And then I got to this segment where it said, how big is your email list? How many Facebook followers do you have? How many Twitter followers do you have? And I started to realize, oh, wait a minute. They want me to sell my book. And it just, a light bulb went off, and I'm like, holy cow, that's the way the industry works. And by the way, that's why they call it a best-selling author, not a best writing author. Okay. Because you can sell books because you've got a following. And so build your following even before you write your book. You know who's going to be interested in your material. Create something that's going to get them interested in your world. All right. Ellen's hand has gone up. Let's jump over to Ellen.
Hey, Michael.
Howdy.
How are you? You want me to turn on my video or just
Sure.
good to see you again? Had a great time on the podcasters cruise and got some good clarity. So,
Nice. Awesome.
I've got two businesses. They're all under the same roof, but two completely separate kinds of things. And I'm kind of starting from scratch with both of them. So the first one is I call it Course Launcher, where I do coaching and build e-learning sites for folks. And then the second one is I've taken all that knowledge and I'm building a wellness community for women with breast cancer. So how would this work? Like, what do I focus on? Just build a great big list, or do I build separate lists? Do I,
Great
I think
question.
I know the answer, but I like to hear that from you. And
Well,
I
no,
think it'd be
and
good
it's a
to.
great question, and there are probably a couple of ways you could do it, but I'll tell you what I've done, and I find it's been pretty effective. It's more of, I look at it this way, technically speaking, okay, a list is a list, okay? It's you got a whole bunch of names and emails. Do you want to have technically two different platforms that you have to pay for separately to keep those separate? And I would say no, you'd be wasting your money. You're better off to keep one segment, okay? Just keep them as in one house, if you will, but give them each their own room. And the way you do that is you segment your list, you tag them. So, real world example, when I first got into this industry, I started podcasting, and my podcast was called Consciously Speaking. And so one of the free gifts I had to offer for that, I'm thinking, well, what are people in this space interested in? Let me offer these guided meditations. So I offered a free guided meditation, and people would opt in for that. Well, then as I grew and people started asking me, Michael, how did you grow your podcast audience so big? How did you do this? They became more business questions. And so now I started getting people interested in the world of business. And so fortunately, my combined list is a combination of both people interested in meditation and people interested in business, but I tag them separately. And so anytime I want to, I can go mail the people who are interested in this or mail the people who are interested in this. But it's all still under one house. And sometimes you just want to mail them all, right? Happy New Year, as an example. By the way, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good to keep them in one place, but give them each their own room. That make sense?
Yep.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. All right. Any other questions popping up? Otherwise, I'll just ramble on a little bit about one other factor I wanted to cover before we go, but I'm happy to continue to answer questions. The other thing that I wanted to toss out for everybody to really get is that if you're in this business to get rich quick, don't follow me. Okay. I think it's silliness, the get rich quick schemes that are out there. A lot of times, by the way, the people who are teaching those are just because they got lucky. Right place, right time. I know people who've had that happen. And then they try to get other people, they go, oh, well, it can happen to you too. No, it's not. How many times has someone told you, I know the trick to making a viral video because they had a video that went viral once? It's not replicatable for the most part. Replicable, whatever the word would be for that. Um, so this is not about getting rich quick. This is about a longer term strategy. Yeah, you can start making money early and right out of the gate, but if you plan for the longer haul, this strategy is effective and will bring you the success you want. But you have to know your numbers. And by the way, some of you came in late. If you want to watch the replay, I'll be sending a link to it once we get it moved from here and loaded into YouTube. You can, if you know your numbers, you can replicate it. Now, I mentioned earlier too that I used to be an actor. And it's interesting. My stepdaughter is planning to be an actress, potentially. And one of the things that I think helped me as an actor was that I understood this, and maybe it's because I had some sales training as well. In sales training, they tell you that every no you get moves you that much closer to a yes. And it's all because of math. It's all because, in the same way I applied it with auditions, every time I didn't get cast in a role, I'm like, cool. That means I'm one more closer to getting cast. Because if on average in sales, if you sell 1 out of 10, well, every 9 no's means you're due for a yes. Okay. If acting, you know that you get, out of every 5 auditions you do, you get booked one of those. Well, every 4 no's means you're that much closer to getting the yes. Now, again, these are averages, longer term. You need a bigger sample size. Okay. So maybe you go 20 no's, but then you get 2 yeses back to back. The average is still the same, 1 out of 10. In your business, know your numbers, and then you can reverse engineer your success. But you can't do that if you don't know your numbers, and you certainly can't do that if you don't set a target because of it. If you know that this percentage of your list is going to buy from you and you want to get this many more buyers, do the reverse math. It's very simple algebra. Calculate how many new leads do you need, and then go out and get those new leads. I just want this to be driven home for y'all in a way that makes it land. Don't do like I did and wait until your list gets really big. Go, oh yeah, I wish I'd started doing that earlier. I literally, if I had to start it over, I would start from day one. I would create a lead magnet and I would start getting it in front of people. I would start getting in giveaways. And by the way, one of the giveaway challenges and part of why I created the infinite list, when you're first starting out, you don't even know necessarily who's running a giveaway unless you're connected in the industry, and you don't get connected in the industry until you've been at it for a little while. And then you got to find someone who's running a giveaway. Oh, hey, so and so's running a giveaway. Next, you got to get invited. Okay. It's not like they're opening the doors to everybody. They're going to open it to people that they know, like, and trust, or at least people that they have heard that have a big list. Now, with Infinite List, we understand that everybody has to start somewhere. And so we invite people in, even if you're just starting out, even if your list is zero, you can join Infinite List and we will help you to grow it because we will let up to 3 members in a giveaway who have no list at all. Okay. Normally, a giveaway has a minimum requirement. Like, let's say you have to have 1,000, a list size of 1,000 or more to participate. At Infinite List, we'll let up to 3 people in a giveaway with a very small list. And we do that because we want you to quickly get to over 1,000. And our ability to control and track that and support it, it doesn't hurt the giveaway and it can still help you to grow. And so that's our commitment at the Infinite List. And I created it that way because I know that when I started in the industry, it was tough. It was tough to get invited to be in giveaways. It was tough to hear about the giveaways. And at Infinite List, we brought it all in house. So we have a giveaway calendar that members go through. Right now, I think we have 26 or 27 giveaways on the calendar already that you could sign up for the coming year. And by the end of the year, we will have run 50 giveaways as a company, and you can jump into those that are a fit for you. And it doesn't matter about your list size. And so that's one of the things, again, we wanted to make it simple by bringing it all into one house and putting it all together with an easy to use platform. So I invite you all to check it out. I'm going to go back to the screen share one more time here. And that way y'all have the QR code if you want. You can check out our new site and pricing for 2025. We just released it. So check it out. You can click on the QR code there, not click on it, but scan it in with your phone, or just go to infinite-list.com. I'll put that in the chat as well. And if you're watching this in the replay, these links will also be available to you inside the, looks like my lights just went out. Infinite-list.com. I think I spelled that right. You will find this available in there as well. So I hope this has been helpful for everybody. Hey, look at this. We're keeping this to under 1 hour today. My last few of these MBA series that I've been doing, and we're doing this as a year-long thing. I did 4 in November. We took off the time for December, and I'm reviving these now, where I'm hoping to do these once a week. I don't know why my lights all went out. But we're doing these once a week now, and I'm going to be providing more and more training and details. But I invite you to go and look through the rest of these. This particular series is called the MBA Training Series, MBA for Mastering Business Authority. And then, of course, we have a lot of other videos inside of our YouTube channel as well. I invite you to go watch all of them. Absorb this information, learn it in a way that you don't have to wait until your list is really big to go, oh, yeah, I wish I would have done this sooner. Do it now. Trust me on this. I'm sharing this because it's made a big impact in my life, and I want to make sure that other people don't struggle as much as I did in the beginning, because it is about a long haul game. And there was a statistic that I brought up, and I meant to put it in one of the slides, but for some reason I missed it. I'll have to do it another one of those. But I just ran a quick search of business statistics. And studies have shown that 20% of businesses fail within the first 3 years. I think the number jumps to 50% within 5 years, and 65% will fail within the first 10 years. I'm over 10-year mark now, so I feel really good that I'm among that 35% that have lasted more than 10 years. But there's something even more important than those numbers alone. And that is there's surviving and then there's thriving. I don't want to help you support a business where you just survive. I want you to build a business where you thrive, where you have much more freedom and time and flexibility and your revenue so that you're not struggling. And I know many business people still who are almost month to month from, oh, I got to go earn more money for my business because I got to pay my bills. And they're just doing this over and over again instead of thriving. So I invite you to follow what I'm laying down for you because that's what I'm all about is teaching you how to thrive, live a very audacious life, a lot of fun. My partner Krista and I, we do masterminds in Italy. We've got one coming up in September of this year. We do the Podcasters Cruise that Ellen just mentioned. She was on that with us last year and is joining us again for this coming year. We do lots of fun stuff as part of our business and as part of our lives because we believe in the freedom lifestyle and the flexibility to travel and have fun and enjoy what you do as well. So I hope you'll follow our YouTube channel, subscribe to it, tell your friends about it. That'd be awesome. Share it as well. And I hope today's been helpful. I'm happy to get any comments you have both on our YouTube channel or you can simply respond to any of the emails. Thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it and I look forward to supporting you more in the future. Ciao, everybody.